video. This is Friday, so there is a sim speed build, and today is a bit of a different build. Normally I build from imagination, come up with an idea and start building and see what happens. Today I'm building a building that actually exists. It is the DesignLab of the University of Twente, and it is part of another building, so it is attached to other buildings, but the lots in the Sims are too small, so I had to cut it off. So it's only the DesignLab part of the building that is covered in this video. And I visited the DesignLab and made some pictures, and yeah, I was just looking for some elements that would probably be recognized by people who've been there, so that's always fun. But the difficult part, building a real building, as a simmer, you probably already know, the scale in the Sims it's something else. It's pretty hard to build from a normal building, because normally you would have half tiles and you can just build whatever you want. But in the Sims, we have to build with this tile system, so it's not possible to have half tiled rooms. So for the scale, this means that it's always a bit off, well, or a lot off. But I tried my best to just keep it as realistic as possible. And in some parts of the build that was very difficult because of that scale. But I hope the overall look of the building and the inside of the building is still recognizable as the DesignLab. So for people who've been there, please let me know. Did you recognize it from the real building, or does it not look like the DesignLab at all? Because I tried hard, but I'm not sure if I did a good job, because I think I always could have done better, with more time, more details. But sometimes you just have to stop and be okay with the result, I guess. So the DesignLab is a large building, and it has some pretty interesting rooms and spaces, because it's more of like the creativity department section of the university, and I think you can see that in the way it's furnished and what people are in the DesignLab and work in the DesignLab. So I think that that's pretty fun to have that at the university. And it was a hell of a job to build this, but it was fun, and I hope you will enjoy this video. And I'm starting off on the first floor, because I thought that was the easiest, because it has a very large room upstairs, and I thought if I can make this look good or get the scale right, then I can fit all the other rooms around it, and see what happens. So that's why I started in the biggest room of the build. And when I was at the DesignLab, it was a bit different than it would normally look, I think, and that's because of the current situation and the measures. So there was nobody in the building, so therefore there were some parts different, or did not look the same as it would normally look when there's people. So I just use a bit of my imagination to figure out the furniture of this place, and sometimes add adding some extra bits to make it more realistic or how it would normally be. So I hope I did a good job at that, because yeah, I could not see it, so I'm not sure if it's accurate or not. Here are two big rooms, and one was more of like a woodworking kind of vibe, more creative space, maker space. So I'm building that here, and the other room next to it was more of like a technical electronics room with 3D printers, and more of like an experimental vibe to it, and I think that's the right vibe for the DesignLab. When I think about the DesignLab, I think of it as a place to be innovative, be creative, and just start making something and see what you could come up with. So very cool to use these items in The Sims, because these are items that I not normally use in my everyday builds. So I was looking for cool items that, well, even though they're not exactly the same as they were in the real build, still capture the aesthetic and the feel of that room. So for example, the 3D printers do not look similar at all, but I put in two maker stations of The Sims to get that same functionality to it. So I thought it was fun. So I had some pictures, but I still had to use my imagination and creativity to come up with items to fill up the space. So yeah, it was really fun to just search in the build catalog to see if there were cool items that could fit the building and the use of the room and the spaces. So there are of course some classrooms, it is a university, and a lot of creative rooms. So I cut out bits here and there because I thought it was pretty boring to watch 3 or 4 classrooms being built. So I cut off bits here and there to keep you interested. So I hope you're still watching. So now we're downstairs, and the downstairs area is mainly for the office spaces, meeting spaces, and there is some sort of a studio environment with computers and with a green screen and more like the video supplies. And there is a small pantry, a kitchen, so that's fun. So there's still a kitchen, even though this is more of like a community lot. And they use lots of things assigning in green, so that was pretty hard to copy for this build, because there are many greens in The Sims, but they're not all matching that well. So sometimes I had to choose some other color instead of green because it was way too ugly to use. So that's why. And this is the video room. I'll find another item that I could use in the kitchen. Here was a green screen, and there was like more of like an not a gamer station, but more a station for video editing, and there were lots of supplies for video and different cameras and cables. So I tried to get that aesthetic from this room, even though it's not exactly the same. And then moving on to this room, this is a meeting room, and the fun thing about this room is, yes, there it is. It had all these balls in the middle of the meeting table. So When I saw it, I was pretty happy because I never used it and now I could use it, but not for toddlers or children, but in an office environment. So that was pretty fun. And here are some workstations. And the vibe I got from the office spaces in the DesignLab are that they're pretty creative, and there were boxes of Legos in this office space area. You could write on the walls with your markers, and there were all kinds of cool cards or gadgets and little fun things. So I tried to replicate it in The Sims with the items we have and with the fun items we have. So that was very cool. So it's not like a very neat office, but it's actually a creative office where you can play with Legos. So I think that's the perfect workplace for many people. And this is the game room. There's actually an esports department team at the university, and they have this game room with all their gaming equipment. And when I was here, I was very jealous because I think that's really cool. So I probably visit it some other time when everything is open, because I'm very curious to learn what they're doing and in what sports they participate. So very cool. And when it's open again, yeah, I definitely will check that out. So then outside of the building, there is a big street close to the DesignLab, but obviously in The Sims I could not replicate that, so I built some more of like a park area, because at the university there are lots of green spaces, parks, and places to chill out with friends and other students and colleagues. So I think it was very fitting for the build to have this some sort of park space surrounding the building. So that's what I did here. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've been to the DesignLab before, please let me know in the comments. Did you recognize it? Yes or no? So let me know. I really like making this build and spent many hours on it. So I hope you like it. So give it a like if you do. And if you want to see more builds of The Sims or other games, subscribe to the channel. And hopefully I'll see you in the next build. Till next build. Bye!